It has been tough and not been easy mentally to get over the hand injury. It did scare me a bit because my hand was hurting a lot. It was playing on my mind in every fight. It used to hurt me and I knew it needed fixing, but I was too scared to get it fixed because God forbid it doesn't go right and then my career is ruined really. It was a big risk to take, but not being able to punch fully without it hurting was weighing on my mind. It is done now and I'm happy and feeling good as well. I don't care about criticism about fighting Canelo. I did it for myself. I wanted to prove to myself I could win that fight. Obviously I didn't, but any doubters don't get to me. I know I can win a world title at 147 and people will forget about the defeats. Even though I only had the one fight and it was a loss, there are still some good things that have come from the year. I still got a couple of fights left in me and cannot wait to be back. Those are the words of Amir Khan. Now, the interesting thing he said there to me, aside from this hand injury, which he says he's had for several years, which has affected his punching power, the interesting thing is he said that if he wins a world title at 147, people will forget his defeats. I beg to differ. I know Amir Khan is always looking on the bright side, and I don't knock him for that because that's why he's been as successful as he has. People can say what they like about Amir Khan, this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, the guy has been a world champion. The guy has fought in very big fights. Most people who lace on a pair of boxing gloves will never get anywhere close to the level that Amir Khan has fought at and that Amir Khan has won at. So he's achieved a lot in his career. He's a millionaire. But with all that being said, if he wins a world title, again, I have to beg to differ that people will forget about his losses. The only way that people would forget about his losses, or at least his losses wouldn't be so fresh in people's minds, or his losses wouldn't be talked about or seen as significant as they are, the only way that that could happen is if he went on a 10-year Klitschko-style reign of dominance. That might consign those losses to the distant, dusty recesses of people's memories. Because Klitschko was so dominant after that the last defeat he had against Brewster, when he finally got himself back in the driving seat, he was so dominant over 10 years that people looked at the losses to Brewster and Saunders, etc., as if it was a different fighter. In fact, many people said that was a different Klitschko. It was a totally different fighter then. The Klitschko today would never have lost those fights. A lot of people felt that way. I'm not saying that I support that view, but I'm saying a lot of other people do. I'm not saying I don't support it either. Just to make that clear. So unless Khan can manage to go on that kind of run, then I don't see people forgetting about those defeats. And it's the manner of the defeats as well. They were spectacular defeats. Again, you could say the same with Klitschko. He lost in spectacular fashion a number of times too. But unlike Klitschko, Khan don't have devastating punching power. Khan don't have the immense physical strength that Klitschko has. Khan don't have the size advantage over most of his opponents that Klitschko has enjoyed for the majority of his career. So I can't see anything like that happening with Amir Khan. I think he's far more vulnerable than Vladimir Klitschko. Not necessarily because he has a worse chin pound for pound, although he might, but because he doesn't have the other tools, the other gifts, abilities, which Klitschko has that negate or cover up for his deficiency in terms of punch resistance. Khan has speed, we know that, but he's not a particularly scientific boxer. He uses his physical attributes. He's fairly tall for a welterweight, decent reach, good speed, fairly decent punch technique, and he uses that with his, very, very good hand speed and good foot speed to outspeed people on the outside like a Devon Alexander. But don't mistake that for amazing boxing skills. He's no Floyd Mayweather. He's not that scientific in terms of what he actually does with his hands. It's quite basic stuff. Move around, jab, throw some counters here and there, counter with combinations. He does that a lot of the time. It's nothing particularly scientific, but it's fairly decent. He's got fairly decent boxing skills, nothing special. So we'll see what he can do for the rest of his career. But I think when we look back at Khan's career after he's retired, those knockout defeats, and there may be more knockout defeats to come, but those knockout defeats that have already happened are going to be some of the most vivid memories that people have of Amir Khan. That's what I think. And again, I understand that Khan is looking on the bright side of things. He's, trying to keep a positive outlook. And he has to. Because there's no way you'd be able to function at the highest levels and get yourself up for fights and get yourself in the right place mentally unless you had the type of mindset that Amir Khan has, in the sense of being constantly optimistic. So it is what it is. Let me know what you think about what Amir Khan has said here. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think if he beats the right people, you don't need to have a 10-year reign at the top to make people forget about the knockout defeats that he suffered. Maybe if he beat Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying as a hypothetical. Maybe if he beat all those guys over the next 2 years, and maybe a couple other guys, and then retired, it would be just as effective as having a 10-year reign like Klitschko did. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.